this. So it does turn into be a much more productive thing for me. So we're going to give it a couple more minutes for people to jump in. Big shout out, Lauren. Thank you for organizing this, setting up the link, getting all the marketing out, doing everything on the back end to really make sure that these work real well. Thank you so much for that. We always appreciate you. Anybody that knows Lauren knows that she is a boss lady for sure, and takes care of business in a big way. So thank you as always. Thank you so much. Recap from last week, we had Vlad on. He was amazing. Just absolutely incredible. Came through with a lot of good leadership points, a lot of really good mindset things. I know Erik, you had Kolash, you had got quite a bit out of that. We have put the replay up on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. I know Randy said he was going to go back and take a look, and feel free to send that out to anybody. This is completely intra brokerage. This is not non-recruit, non-salesy, anything with that. These are basically people that have impacted me during my journey. And, they kind of taught me to do this, is share out the knowledge of what we can. And Erik's been a huge player for that. I was fortunate enough to coach with Erik for a couple of years. I got on stage. Erik made me cry a couple times. But
Shawn, I was going through some old slideshows. It's when I get a chance to present, sometimes you create new content and sometimes you dust off old content. And I was doing a vision casting conversation, and that was kind of the theme of that summit in 2019 or 2020. I forget when it was, but we had talked about the vision that you had for your life and where you were and the hardships that you fell upon, both from bad choices you made and things that happened to you, and how you really changed your stars. And so, like, you can praise me all you want, and I'm all here for it. Tell me I'm pretty all the time, and I'm grateful for it. But man, you should be so proud of yourself for the progression that you've made and the man that you've become.
Thank you. No, I really appreciate that. I appreciate that a whole lot. You definitely helped me in a real tough bind. And the one time in coaching, we had a couple of months there. It was a good one. So
Just jobs.
Yep, just jumping up and on. Now, Erik did tell me previous to this, he does have some internet off and on. So if we lose him, he's going to jump back on right away. So hopefully we get a couple more people while he's frozen.
I blame Fargo.
Yep, that's the easiest one to blame.
Shawn, are you frozen too?
No, I'm here. Lauren, can you text me the link real quick?
Yeah.
Oh. Is that the Zoom link?
Yeah, that's what I just sent out. Hold on, I'll send you the one I sent Erik.
Yeah, that link's just taking me to Google.
There you go.
Well, let's get Erik back in here and then we'll do it. Just a handful of us today, which is so pretty and beautiful.
I know that we heard from Randy about someone he recommended. Does anybody else in the group have someone that they think would be worth hearing from, whether it's a business model that they liked or, someone that they feel like has had a huge impact in their business? Because we are looking to start filling up probably as we get into the early months of next year, people to speak. So if you guys have anyone, definitely drop them in the chat so we can reach out to them.
I guess, and there's a passcode now, right, for this one. Hold on, let me send Erik.
No, it shouldn't have passcode. Sean, I just sent you both of those, the passcode and the link. And he's joining in.
There we go. Back in action.
I am the worst. I am the worst. I'm here for the party now. Gang, you're awesome to allow me to deal with massive internet issues at my office. And they decided to restart everything the moment I got on here. So my deepest apologies. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience.
Totally cool. So we had Gabe jump on in the meantime. Gabe, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for jumping on here. Let's go ahead and get started. Everybody else jumps on in the meantime. We'll jump on in the meantime. There's a few of us here. This is meant to be small and intimate and get through this, right? So just to recap a couple things, we'll talk with Erik for about 30 minutes, conversationally wise, and then there's some questions afterwards. Okay, these are intended for you to have actionable steps when you leave these in order to implement into your business, your personal life, your mindset, whatever it is, whatever pillar is you're working on. These are intended to have these immediately so you can jump onto this. Now, the people we have coming on here, Erik today, are superstars in the industry, have led teams that sell thousands of units a year, pie events with a couple thousand of people every year. Wrote a book, really great book. I had a chance to read it, and also wrote another book, which he promotes, the blueprint for real estate agents, but servant leadership was a great book that Erik wrote, which really teaches you how to be a great leader by being a good servant, like to the people to the people around you. Okay, so we're gonna get right into it because we're a few minutes past. So, Erik, tell us just a little bit about like where you're at now, a little bit about quick little snapshot about yourself, and what you're working on right now.
So I'm in Fargo, North Dakota. Yes. If I leave here, we have to change like the population sign outside of town because it's not a densely populated place. But I have been in the real estate industry for 18 years. Was a part-time agent, then I was an agent on a team, then I was a solo agent, then I started a team, then my team crashed and burned, then I built back better, then I got kicked out of my brokerage, then I opened up my own independent brokerage, then I joined Real in 2021. My team stumbled and fell 2 years ago. We've sold, we've had big highs, big lows. I've made millions and lost millions. My team has sold over 7,000 houses in the last decade. And I've been spending most of my time in the last 8 years serving as a real estate coach. And so helping team leaders to go through a lot of the pain and a lot of the gain that I was fortunate to experience. And then I get to lean in and see some really awesome things that are happening in people's lives and businesses. And my biggest passion of all of that is I'm passionate about leadership, because I think that leadership rises the tide for everything we want in our lives. And that's leading ourselves, leading our family, and then if we have the opportunity, leading our team.
Yeah, so that is amazing. All of that is absolutely incredible to hear you go from the highs and the lows. A lot of times you hear people saying, "Oh, I sold this and I've done this and I've done this and I've done this." And I've personally got to hear some of Erik on the other side of that as well. Now, Erik, you did write a book about like a blueprint for real estate agents, right?
I did. Yeah, that handsome blue devil right back there is called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint. And here's what I saw, Shawn, is I think that most people, if they were building a real estate team, they tried to do so the MREA way, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. And that was a Bible for me when I was growing my team. And I'll give you a very, very brief overview if you're not familiar with it. And it was written by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. If you're going to grow a team, you pay your agents 30%.
and then you have 30% for expenses, and then you have 40% for profit. And the goal is to reach the mythical 7th level. And when you reach the mythical 7th level, everybody makes you a bunch of money, and you sit back and drink pina coladas and get sand between your toes. That gave me a lot of great framing for how to grow a real estate team, but it never gave me a great framing on how to help other people to have really great lives. And it pointed to, Erik, here's how you can have a great life. But I was like, well, this life isn't that awesome. Like, I'm still, like, nobody taught me how to be a better leader. Nobody taught me how to empower other people so that they could have their stars changed. And I realized that I had to do this a better and a different way. And so I recognize that most teams fail because here's what happens. Let's say Julie, you're an astronomically good agent. If you're an astronomically good agent, Julie, the move is like, well, I better go and hire a bunch more people, because listen, if the average commission is $10,000, I can hire Shawn, and I can hire Erik, and I can hire Gabriel, and I'm going to hire those 3 people, and they're going to do what I do. And I'm going to throw them each 10 quality at bats. Shawn's going to get 10, Erik's going to get 10, and Gabriel's going to get 10. And so they're all going to close all 10 of those deals. It's going to be 30 deals. They're each going to make $50,000, right? On a 50-50 split, they're going to make 50 grand, and I'm going to make 50 grand. So I'm going to make $150,000 when I hire Shawn and Erik and Gabriel. It's going to be the best. But let's be honest. Shawn has never sold a house in his life. He has no experience. He has no ability to do what Julie does. He has no ability to shine in this industry. And so Shawn, if we're lucky, is going to close 3 of those, right? Julie, if you can do 10 out of 10, the brand new agent is going to do 3 out of 10. Maybe. And I'm probably being generous when I say 3 out of 10. And Shawn, the new agent, is going to have an inconsistent life. And Julie, you're stuck doing production, so you're not even giving Shawn the leadership that he needs and deserves. So he's set up for a bad career. We literally, in our code of ethics for real estate, we take this fiduciary duty to do what's best in the interest of our clients. Julie, do you believe that Shawn, who's never sold a house before, is in the best interest of those clients? No or no, because he's not. Like, why does our industry have an 87% failure rate? It's because we take new people, we throw them to the wolves, and we hope that they find their way. Hope is a great thing to have, but a terrible business strategy. So we have to rethink real estate teams in general. Because, by the way, here's who actually gets into real estate. If you can do a full-time commission job, you're one of these 5 people. You have a sugar daddy or a sugar mama. You have a trust fund. You have a part-time job. You have terrible spending habits, or you have 6 months in the savings account. And that's it. That's the only people that can get into a full-time commission job. So we have to be thinking of, like, man, there's a talent pool out there of retail workers and teachers and nurses and baristas and people in these jobs where they're like, this is such a talented person, but they could never get into real estate. And we have to figure out a way to get more talent in. And we have to figure a way in which to think of our money in a better sort of way. So Julie, instead of you giving 10 at-bats to Shawn and 10 to Erik and 10 to Gabriel, what if you kept all 30 of those at-bats yourself? You're going to close 10 out of 10. So instead of you getting 15 grand off of each of them, meaning you made 45,000, we're not even counting the money you just lost. We're just saying you made 45,000 top line. What if you held on to those 30 deals? Well, that's $300,000 at 10 grand a commission. If you held on to those 30 deals, what kind of leverage would you need in your life? And yes, I could belabor the point of having admin support, and the book does that, and it talks about where you will place admins. But this is the piece for most people: is you bring in the barista, you call in the nurse, and you give them a salary. You pay them $3 grand a month, and that person becomes the nurse to you being the doctor. That person does all the showings. They're working nights and weekends so you get your life back. They're giving you time. They're giving you expertise. They're getting their MBA in real estate. Their greatest chance to win is working alongside a star like Julie. Their greatest chance. And so when Julie says, I got this person under my wing, they're not going to fail. And now all of a sudden, Julie's bought back 10 or 20 hours of time. Now you can use that as luxury and just like not work anymore. or you can use it as leverage, and you use that to go and lead generate, and you use that to go and get more business, and you use that to train other agents on your team. And now all of a sudden, you're going to close an extra 10 or 20 deals. Not just the 30 that I talked about, Julie. I'm talking about the 10 or 20 deals that you're going to be afforded because now you have somebody else lead generating next to you, and you're afforded this time to go back. And so now you're going to make $450,000 or $500,000 top line. You have a couple admin that are helping to support what you're doing, and then you have an agent partner who's getting their MBA in real estate working alongside you, and they're going to make $50,000 to $75,000 in real estate their first year. The base pay of 36, and then they'll make 5% on each deal that they touch. Show me a stack of first-year agents that are making $75,000 a year. You can't. I mean, yeah, there's the unicorns that are out there that are doing it. But Shawn, the reason why I wrote this book is because we have to think about top agents differently. The top agents move is not to grow a mega team, because mega teams are full of headache, full of bad lives for most of those people, and that's unfair to them. And that's also not the life that I want. The life that I want is I want time back, I want deep relationships, and I want deep impact. And also I want a bunch of money. And this micro team affords me all of those. It's not as hard as we think it is. 20 people that are all mediocre mouth-breathing agents, that's hard. Somebody who is my wingman, working alongside me, helping to execute our small, powerful vision, that changes the lives of every person that comes in touch with. The agent gets a better experience, you get a better experience, and the clients get a better experience.
Wow. Well, that's a lot to take in. That was really impactful. So, I mean, that literally had probably 10 of my questions wrapped up in the one statement, but I can personally attribute some of this, right? So I've been through Erik being coached by Erik and whatnot. I've had larger teams and got down to smaller teams and looked for a long time for people like a right hand, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, you really just, it's hard to find those people, and it's hard to find good people in there. Our team is rocking and rolling. We're in a really good position now.
How many agents do you have in your squad right now?
There are 8 total agents, and then Lauren, who is a licensed agent, she's director of operations.
Okay.
Lauren is that everything to us,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she is that everything, all encompassing, everything, can do everything that you can imagine, from closing a listing appointment to building out a system and a procedure, all that stuff. So, you know, Erik, what, like, when you talked about like top agents, right? So like there is a process to get to that point, right? Of like, I understand that, like, coming in and working for a top agent to get to that point there, but there's a process to that. In the blueprint for real estate agents that you have written here, what do you find as being like the most effective, like, daily habit, like routine that people need to establish early, and things that you need to keep moving forward with on a daily basis?
Solid question. If you want to win, you first got to know where you're actually going to get business from. And I think that there's 4 places you can get business from. People overcomplicate this, and I don't think you need to. The first place is PCSOI, past client and sphere of influence. It, in fact, is the greatest way to get business. And now, PCSOI business, if you do it right, you should get about a 10 to 20% return on that investment. Meaning, if you have 10 people in your database, you can expect that one of those 10, if you're treating them well, they're going to give you repeat business or referral business. So if you have 100 people in your database, they can predictably say you should get at least 10 deals from that database. Now, I'm not talking about like that casual high school friend from 20 years ago that you don't even know their new maiden name, or you don't remember their maiden name and all these other things. Like, that's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that you are in rhythm with, people that you are connecting with intentionally. And I will give you the blueprint of how to connect with your PCSOI. It is the greatest thing I can give you today. But the second area, remember, first is PCSOI, second is low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit would be anything that costs you a bunch of money to get. So HomeLight, Zillow, outside agent referrals, any of those things are expensive to build your business upon and an insecure way to be the only leg of the stool. Now, I think that large teams and whatnot are supplementing and adding some of these as accelerators, but they become a drug. And that drug is hard to get away from, and it costs you 25 to 40% per transaction. And that's a really expensive relationship to have. The third is long-term nurtures. Long-term nurtures would be like pay-per-click advertising. It would be a neighborhood farm. It would be open house leads. It would be things that cost you little to nothing. Maybe it costs you your time. And the people maybe aren't raising their hands today like low-hanging fruit saying, I want to buy or sell a house. It is a longer game, and most of us fail to plant seeds. Ben Kinney, one of my mentors and business partners, says this, is that every good farmer does these 4 things. This is important to write down. The first thing a good farmer does is they plow the field. Plowing the field can be interpreted as growing your database. So adding people to your database consistently. The second is that you have to plant the seeds. That means this is a connection and conversation game. Most of us aren't having enough conversations. Frankly, we're just not having enough conversations. Number 3 is you have to water the seed. To water the seed means you spend an inordinate amount of time in relationship with that person, continuing to give value. The 4th is you go to harvest. Harvest is the sale. Harvest is the deal. Harvest is the agent attraction. Harvest is that person choosing to come over. But most people make the mistake in all this because you try to go to harvest right after you plant the seed. And you fail to water well enough. And so I'm going to give you a watering strategy, okay? The 4th area and the final area is reputation. Reputation would be, I think, your YouTube channel. It'd be your social media presence. It'd be your involvement in the community. It would be that people feel like they're in relationship with you even though they don't know you. It would be your Google reviews and your Zillow reviews. All those things matter a lot. And so to play into those strategies, that's oftentimes a one-to-many strategy. But here's how you win, because you win in conversations. I want to be really clear with you. If you want to grow your business to the point where you're growing a team, and that team should be a micro team, if you want to get your business to that actual point, here's what you do. You do, the acronym is called CAIG, C-A-I-G. You want to know what you reach out to people with? The first is a compliment. Now, this, of course, works for your PCSOI. This works for people that are your internet friends. But you can compliment somebody by saying, like, yo, bro, it looks like you've lost 4 pounds. You look great. Or you can say, your kid just hit a home run in baseball. That must be incredible. And you cheer them on and you celebrate them and you compliment them with specificity. If you need to have more conversations, remember, you plow the field. That means you have to grow your database. You should be adding at minimum 5 new friends to your database weekly. If you're not adding 5 new people to your database weekly, I think you're falling short. This is a conversations game. And people say, well, I don't know what to say. And then when you don't know what to say, insecurity flexes. And if you're insecure, you tend to talk more than you listen. If you're insecure, you tend to flex when you don't need to, meaning you try to talk about the proficiency and the knowledge that you have in real estate when frankly, you shouldn't be talking about that. You should be talking about them. And so the first way you talk about them is to compliment. The second way, that's the C. The A in the acronym CAGE is to ask. If you're a brand new, are any of you new realtors? Anybody, Shawn, on here? Anybody a new realtor? Okay, well, I'm going to say Randy's a new realtor. We'll use this as an example, okay? Randy, let's say you're a new realtor. If your social media says, hey, anybody looking to buy or sell, go ahead and contact Randy. Big dog will take care of you, right? Like, why would anybody ever contact you? You don't know anything. And then everybody's like, this idiot spent 90 hours to get his real estate license. He thinks I'm going to trust him now. Like that's what people are. So watch what happens when you change the conversation. What if you call up your buddy Gabriel and you say, hey, Gabriel, so I'm new in real estate, but you're a guy who I really trust the opinion of. Like, what's 1 or 2 things I need to do in order to find success in my business? And then you call up Julie and you say, hey, Julie, can I take you out to coffee? I want to pick your brain on a couple of strategies that would help grow my business. Like, you don't need to be shy about being a realtor. The world needs to know that you sell real estate. But what happens is when you contact your sphere, your referrals, your past clients, people that already know, like, and trust you, that are likely to do business with you, when you contact them and you ask for their opinion, hey, I'm driving to your side of town. What restaurant should I go to? People eat that up. When you ask them for feedback, call all your past clients. This is gold right here. Call all your past clients. Thank them. Hey, Erik, I know we did a transaction like 4 years ago, and whether you know it or not, that was really important to me because I knew you put your trust in me. But I'm looking to get better. Can you tell me 1 or 2 things that I could have done to be a better realtor? That person will be indebted to you. Even though you served them, you asked their opinion and you made them feel seen, heard, valued, and cared for. The ask is the most powerful thing that you can do, is to ask somebody their opinion. You're declaring them as an expert, and they will be indebted to you and want to be invested in your future success. The problem is, y'all are trying to talk about real estate. And you're trying to sell houses when really you should be making relationships. The reason why we will lose is because we will try to out Zillow. Zillow is winning right now because of speed and technology. Do you really think you have more market data than Zillow? Do you really think that your newsletter is going to win somebody over? No, you're going to win when you out relationship Zillow. Whether it's your past clients and sphere of influence, or it's have not mets of like the low hanging fruit of the long-term nurtures, you have to treat these people as though they are your like deep-seated friends who you trust. How do you become trustworthy? Is you trust them and you ask them for their opinion. The I in the acronym CAGE is to invite. Invite people to connection, invite people to events, invite people to community gatherings, invite people to give their opinions, invite people to answer your survey, invite. And the G is gratitude. If Shawn texted me or called me out of the blue or sent me a video and he just said, you know what, Erik, I was thinking back to 4 years ago when we coached together and you made a profound difference in my life. And I'm just so grateful. I was just thinking of you today. That obviously is wind beneath my wings. But what does that make me think of Shawn? Shawn was the guy that delivered the gratitude, but it has leveled him up as both being front of mind and me being appreciative. So the question is, how often do you do this, right? I said you got to add 5 new people to your database, right? You got to plow the field. You got to add at least 5 new people a time, or a week, excuse me. So how often do you plant the seed and how often do you water the seed? And the answer is more. If you're looking for an exact blueprint, I can give you a blueprint, but I don't know what you're doing right now. If you're having 10 conversations a day, the answer is 11. If you're having 5 conversations a day, the answer is 6. There is a book called The Power of One More by Ed Milet. It's one of my favorite reads 2 years ago. And here's what happened 2 years ago, gang. Oh, look at you, Erik, bonus points. Have you read it or is it just sit on your desk? You've read it. Okay.
I've read it.
Okay. And The Power of One More, it just talks about like, if you've done your 10 conversations in a day, can you actually do 11? And in November of 2022, I found myself heavier physically, spiritually, emotionally. My business like collapsed in 2022. I lost 50% of my production in a 30-day period. I had to do 3 rounds of layoffs on admin. I lost a bunch of money. I lost a bunch of hair, and I was in a really dark spot. And I saw on the internet that in the month of November, there was a bunch of people doing a 30-day challenge, and it was to do 3,000 push-ups in 30 days. Now, I was 346 pounds when I started that. It's a lot of beef, y'all. And I'm like, can I do 100 push-ups a day? And the first day I did 100 push-ups and it hurt like hell. It was like 7 sets of 12 to 15 push-ups was all I could do. And I'm like, oh my gosh, can I come back and do this tomorrow? And I'm like, but what if I do 10 more? If I did 100, can I do 110? And the second day, although it hurt like hell, I did 110. And immediately my psyche started to change. And immediately I moved to this spot of like, huh, I hurt a lot, but I was able to do 100. I was able to do 110. So I kept going. Gang, when the month finished, the goal was to do 4,000 push-ups or 3,000 push-ups, and I did 4,000. I did 4,000 push-ups in 30 days. It accelerated my health journey. In the last 23 months, I'm down 92 pounds. Like, I am a sexy beast, y'all. Sorry, I'm married. Tough, everybody. But I am now, like, I got my swagger back. Like, Stella got his groove back. And the reason why that happened, the reason why this has all changed, is because I decided to do one more. I committed to doing one more. And what happened with me physically happened to me emotionally, and it happened to me with my business. And yes, a bunch of therapy sure helps too. And I did that too, because I got to heal all these things in my mind. But now I got a swagger like I haven't had in over a decade. And the reason why is because I'm winning. And the reason why I'm winning is because I'm doing one more. And the reason why I'm doing one more is because I decided one day, almost 2 years ago, that I was tired of the life that I had. And so how many conversations are you going to have? If you're tired of your business, if you're tired of making what you're making and you want to change those stars, the only way to do it is with more effort. But let's be really clear on this. I want you to do me a favor, because I know you've been taking some notes. I want you to draw a triangle. And on this triangle, on the left-hand side, you're going to write the word skill. On the right-hand side, you're going to write the word effort. And on the bottom of the triangle, you're going to write the word opportunity. Now, when I meet with agents, and I get the privilege of doing this a lot, I'll ask them, I'll say, hey, Shawn, did you reach your goal for 2024? And the answer for almost every agent is probably no. Does that feel accurate for almost all of you? Is like, did you reach your goal for 2024? The answer is probably no. And so if that's the answer, why? Look at the triangle. Why? Is it skill, is it effort, or is it opportunity? Because most of us are actually blaming opportunity. The rates are really high. There's not as many people moving nowadays. It's a tougher market out there. There's a lot of realtors. The NAR stuff, like, we got a bunch of excuses. My wife went to San Francisco a couple of months ago, and she and her friend, they went to the Redwood Forest outside of San Francisco. She sent me a picture. My wife's 5'10". She sent me a picture, and I've never seen her look smaller in my life than standing next to those trees. Gang, there's still a forest to chop down, but it's just redwoods now instead of fig trees. There's still plenty of opportunity, but that opportunity looks like a redwood now. And so that means it takes more skill and it takes more effort. Can we all agree there's still plenty of opportunity out there?
Yes.
Okay. If we don't agree with that, just get off the call right now. Stop wasting your time. Sorry, I know I'm eye candy, but go and do something else. Okay. So that means we have to look at skill, or we have to look at effort. And if you swing an axe 1,000 times, but the axe is dull, you're going to quit. You can't increase your effort without also increasing your skill. They are mutually connected. So I would ask you, how sharp is your axe? Let me give you an example. Do you remember about 2 years ago when the 2-1 buy down came into play? The 2-1 buy down was the way to curb all of the pain of the current interest rates by helping people to get cheaper for year one and cheaper for year two before it set into the 7% hell that people are in year 3 and beyond. But this is how, I promise, all of you explained it like this the very first time. Yeah, there's this really cool new thing called the 2-1 buy down. And here's how it works is like, you just put, no, sorry, the seller pays money, okay? And so the seller's going to pay this money. And then you have a little cheaper interest rate. It's unbelievable. And right, because it was new and we didn't know jack about it. And so we just like fumbled and stumbled our way through, and we made it through. We made it through. But what would have happened if you went to your office every day for 60 minutes being like, this is the greatest opportunity that's going to get some people unstuck. How am I going to chop down this redwood? Is I'm going to have much more skill. And so if I want to have much more skill, I got to sharpen this axe, and I got to practice this 30 to 60 minutes every day so that I don't practice on my clients. And let me say this to you now, is most of us are practicing on our clients. And you're losing and you don't even know. Why is your client not writing an offer? Because you haven't practiced enough. It's not because of the freaking interest rates. It's not because there's not enough inventory. It's because you haven't practiced enough. You have not sharpened your axe. I'm fiery about this because it is commonplace for the egos of realtors to think that you are still that 2021 realtor superstar that was simply a 5-foot basketball hoop and you thought you could dunk. Sorry, gang, the hoop is back to 10 feet and it got smaller. You got to get better. The game is harder. You got to get better if you want to play the game. That's it. So, Shawn, I'm off that heater, but let me say this. It is both effort, which is the power of one more, and it's skill, making sure that you are working smarter, not harder.
That was incredible. Just to say the least, that was mind blowing. This CAGE acronym, really, I mean, it got that down. That's probably going to get printed and put up on the wall somewhere, because I think a lot of the times with agents are saying, what do I reach out about? What do I reach out for? And this whole, of like asking for referrals. That's what we've been like taught for so long, is ask for referrals. And I've never done that, right? I've always been one that's in the compliment stage, the gratitude stage, and then like I brand.
And that's why you're winning, Shawn, is because you've earned. I want to talk about referrals, because we have in about 30 days we have our pie day. We at one point we had the largest pie day in the entire country. We were giving away 2,000 pies the 2 days before Thanksgiving, and people oftentimes use client events as a chance to try to ask for referrals. But imagine somebody drives 20 minutes across town to pick up a $6 pie that you got at Costco. And when they walk in, you be like, hey, here's your pie, but do you know anybody looking to buy or sell? Like, it's just gross, right? And so instead of asking for a referral, can we become referral worthy? And to become referral worthy, CAGE is your accelerator to become referral worthy. But I do want to teach you on how to actually ask for that referral.
Okay.
If somebody comes to the client event or the happy hour that you do, or you just follow up with CAGE, here's what you do. If you've been in conversation with somebody because you invited them, you saw them in person, and then you thanked them afterwards, that's at least 3 touches, probably 3 invites to get them there. And then they showed up and then you thanked them. So that's 5. So 3 to 5 touches, I think, gives you permission to have this. What I would do is I would say, hey, Gabriel, can I have a business conversation with you next week? I just need 2 minutes of your time. So first, I'm going to ask for a business conversation. This is essential. This is foundational. Gabriel just got a free pie from me. I just called him and thanked him. We spent some time jamming about his family and everything else. And now I'm transitioning to ask for a business referral, or ask for a business conversation. He's going to say yes. And so I'll say, okay, I'm going to call you between 3 and 4 p.m. Next Wednesday, if that's cool. He's like, yep, that's cool. So now it's on my schedule. I'm going to call Gabriel up and I'm going to say this. Hey, Gabriel, do you still have time for a 2-minute business conversation? So I'm now going to ask for permission again, reframing what's coming. Then what he's going to say is yes. And I'm going to say, awesome. Listen, I had a weird thing happen recently. My buddy Randy referred me to one of his coworkers, and I was jacked. But that coworker never called me. And I felt like I let 3 people down. I let Randy down, I let that coworker down, and I let my family down. And so I recognize that the people who I really care about, the Gabriel Duttons of the world, I've failed to teach you how to give me a referral if you ever think I'm referral worthy. And so, Gabriel, if you ever know of someone that's looking to buy or sell in real estate and you think I would be a good fit for them, would you promise me that you'll just send a 3-way text between them, me, and you? And you just say, hey, I want you to meet this person. They're maybe looking to buy a house, or maybe they're looking to sell. So if you ever think I'm worthy of a referral, would you just promise me that you're going to send me a 3-way text? Do you see how that feels way less like direct, and yet it will provide so much more fruit because you've done the context, you've done the cage 5 or 6 times, you've invited them to the things, you've spent time with them, and then you frame it. You put the hat on to say, I'm wearing my business hat here. You're reminding them that you're a realtor. You're saying, I'm not even worthy of a referral yet, but instead, if you ever think I am, and then you tie together your family, you tie together your goals, you tie together all those things. And I watch people do this, and their referrals just go up, 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 up. So you have to stop paying for business. You can stop doing all that low-hanging fruit, and you can instead concentrate on your PCSOI with greater fervor.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible advice, right? So Erik just hit on a real big thing here, because if you see this right here, that's a 3-way text message that somebody just sent to me. So this is the things that Erik has taught us in the past wise of how to teach people how to send you referrals in a very, this just happened a day ago from somebody we're dealing with in that fashion, right? So the whole days of can you send me a referral? Do you know somebody looking to buy or sell? Like a way in. So we need to really make this connection with people and have them understand that, like, we care, we value your opinion, and we have to establish trust with them. And I think that that's a big misunderstanding, because Erik, Erik, Blatt, whoever it is, they can give you 25 different things you can do to stay in touch with the PCSOI, 25 different ways you can talk to them, all these different ways you can connect with people. Okay. A, like, most people aren't going to do it, but B is like that connection level takes a lot of time. And then when you build the trust through that, people will then start to interact with you, and you're not interacting with them on where you're receiving the interaction, right? And then you're going back to interact through that side. And we build, for me wise, I've spent a lot of time on that aspect of building that subconscious trust through my branding, through social media, through YouTube, through handwritten thank you cards, for sending people things on the back end, so that we just get these 3-way messages that are saying, hey, I want to introduce to this person that just said they were looking to buy or sell at work. Meet Shawn, meet Phil, to go through that process. But the CAGE acronym was really sum that up into one big holistic approach of how to attack that right now, because you feel really good. And the gratitude thing that Erik talks about, I do that with Erik. He can tell you that. I do send him messages of the thank you so much for like what you did, because you fill your cup. I act like my glass is like, half, like I'm trying to completely fill my glass all the time, right? And I think Erik just hit on a lot of different aspects right there. And one of the things I just want to circle back was that triangle was a skill, effort, and opportunity, because you could talk to a million different people about opportunity, right? Erik could probably give you 38 different opportunities right now that you can get involved in, right? And the skill and effort, though, people are consistently not remembering about that. And the analogy that you just made about the basketball hoop is now back to 10 feet and the rim is smaller. It's really small right now, like very challenging, 50% fallout on some of these deals. We're dealing with a lot of challenges to get through that process. So the practice, I mean, just going through everything you just talked about, Erik, I want to ask you though about the call that you said about calling your past clients, right? And asking them, is there 1 or 2 things that like I could do better? Do you think that people don't do that because there's a fear to hear the negativity come from the other end? And do you feel like the result of that call is much greater than that return?
So I think timing matters. Let's say I just closed on a deal with Randy, and 3 days later, I call him up, even though it was like a hairy deal and it was super frustrating. If I call up Randy and be like, hey, man, what's 1 or 2 things I can do better or different? And he's literally sitting with an encyclopedia of things that I could do better or different. Like most of us are afraid to get coached, and most of us are afraid to show that we don't have it all figured out. Remember, insecurity flexes. And so if you think you don't need any feedback, well, that's an ego thing, and that's an insecurity thing. By the way, that if you have agent attraction as one of your goals, if you're trying to get more agents on your team or you're trying to bring them into your network, transact a deal with them and call them up a week later and say, hey, what's 1 or 2 things I could do better or different? It's an amazing relationship cultivator to say, hey, I know our deal didn't go as smoothly as possible. I'd love to understand from your perspective 1 or 2 things that I could do better or different. And by the way, when you ask a question with specificity, you will get a great answer. But if you call up and say, hey, how'd I do? It doesn't do it. You say, what's the number 1 thing, or what's 1 or 2 things that I can do better or different? You actually have to be very careful with your language patterns so that you're not just saying, hey, how'd I do? Because if someone says, hey, are you happy with your marriage? Yeah, I'm happy with my marriage. Or if somebody says, what's 1 thing you would change about your marriage? Well, shoot, I got a lot of answers for that, you know? Is my wife on the call? No, she's not. Okay. Just making sure my wife's not here to hear that. But to your question, Shawn, as I frame it that way, I think that most of us have a really hard time showing vulnerability, showing that we don't have it all together. Again, insecurity flexes and our world is filled with puffery. From social media to, it's why I hate most real estate events, is because people just have measuring contests about, well, how many homes do you sell? Like, bro, I sell more than almost everybody, and my life was miserable. I understand that we should be talking about how many vacations I took and how many soccer games I got to go to for my kids and my health. Those are the things we should be talking about, not the number of transactions and not the number of nobody cares about that. But we have to understand that we have to be leaders. The micro team model, that's about being a better leader. The servant leadership book I wrote, that's about being a better leader. This of asking the questions, leader, by the way, I'm flirting with a new title. Please don't go and purchase this domain, or please don't go and steal this and copyright it. But my next book is probably going to be called Leaders Go First, because leaders have to be the ones to ask for help first. And leaders have to be the ones to show vulnerability first. And leaders need to be the ones that are going to change the way in which this industry is done. We can't do what everybody else did, because if we do what everybody else did, we're going to have what everybody else has. And that's a pretty mediocre to miserable life. So be unafraid of being moldable clay.
So, Erik, that gets me on, like, when leaders go first, leaders have to ask first, whatever. In regards to you right now, like, who are your current mentors? Who are the people you're looking up to right now? Who are the people you're following as far as to, like, help you get better? You know, what's some things that you're interacting with right now?
Yeah. I know some people are going to always hop off early. I want to make sure I give this. If you find my Instagram handle, it's Real Erik Hatch. That's Erik with a K, Real Erik Hatch. You can DM me the word blueprint, and I'll send you a free copy of my blueprint book. Or you can DM me the word leadership, and I'll send you a copy of my leadership book. We just ask that you pay shipping and handling on those. But you only want to send one word. The one word is blueprint, or the one word is leadership. And you can cycle through once you get through, because I have AI that takes care of all of it. All right. So if you want the blueprint book, just send me the word blueprint. If you want the leadership book, send me the word leadership. If you want both, just cycle through and get it done, and then do the next thing. Okay. And that'll take over, because I want to be able to gift that to you guys and put that in your hands.
Erik, how
Shawn,
how much is the shipping and handling on a book?
it's like $750, I think.
We got 9 people on this call. Why don't I go in here? I'll order 9 copies of this book, and I'll deliver them to all the people on this call right now.
Well, even better. But they can still follow me on Instagram too. Like,
no, follow them on Instagram.
I need to feel pretty. Yeah.
Follow them on Instagram for sure. But, like, I wanted, like, to thank you for that. You know, I'll order
that's
the book,
cool of you, Shawn.
and I'll get all these 9 books to everybody.
Thanks, buddy. What's going to be easiest, Shawn, is why don't you just send me an email, and I'll tie you together with my admin, and we'll take care of that afterwards. So we'll get you copies of both books. So here's who I'm following. I have a bunch of people that are influential in my life, but I have 3 men that are currently really important. One is a guy named Shane Hips, and Shane is working with me on a lot of, like, wealth building. I'm not fueled by money, I'm fueled by impact, but it seems like the more wealth I accrue, the more impact I can make. And so that's become a real big accelerator for me. Sharon has become a very dear friend of mine as the president of Real and as a guy who I am proud to follow. And so Sharon is one of my personal mentors, and I get a lot of time with him, which I'm really grateful for. And then my team joined up with Place about a year and a half ago. And Ben Kinney has gone from being kind of a peripheral friend to a really important man in my life. And so I get a lot of time with him. So I'm fortunate to be moldable clay for three men of really great wisdom and power.
Those familiar with, I'm not familiar with the first guy so much, but Sharon, of course, and Ben Kinney as well. Both
Yeah.
just amazing impact, amazing care about people around them. Just like ultimately just amazing people. So I want to be conscious of everybody's time because we have a couple minutes left here. So open this up to any questions in the room. Does anybody have any questions? Feel free to unmute yourself and just go with the question. Don't talk over anybody. We don't have a ton of people in here. So Erik, just go ahead and fire away, man.
Yeah, Erik, I appreciate you doing this. One of my biggest takeaways was how you were able to ask for business in a very non-direct way. And then out of those four different lead sources, the one that I'm really trying to focus the most on are those nurtures. And I do that through circle prospecting.
Yep.
Is there an approach that I can take that can be somewhat indirect instead of like, you think about selling your house? You know, I don't say it directly like that, but I mean, in a long-winded sort of way, I do.
I think that you need to find connection points outside of real estate within circle prospecting, because circle prospecting means that those homeowners aren't interested in buying or selling right now. They're just happy in their neighborhood. So imagine you call them up and you've had a couple of conversations with them and you just say, hey, your name came to the front of my mind today because I've really enjoyed our conversations together. I have a couple of clients that are really looking at your neighborhood, and I'm wondering, what are your favorite things of your neighborhood? Right? You're asking of their opinion. Or what do you think is the best school district? Or my kids are debating private or public. I'm curious what your kids are doing. Right? Like, you're asking for their opinion, or you invite them to be in community together. People that do circle prospecting on a really high level have regular connections in one-on-one that's kind of real estate related, but you're also breaking bread together. You're also like, you're not just reaching out to them to talk about real estate. You're reaching out to them to talk with specificity about their lives and about the events that are going on. And so you're inviting them to things and you're breaking bread together and you're having some beers and you're playing some games with kids, and all of a sudden you become the guy. But it's a really long-term play. I wouldn't recommend just like calling everybody and be like, okay, well, tell me all these things. But like, find yourself in regular conversation with them about life and not about real estate. And Cage is one of those great ways to do so, because if you friend these people on social media, now you're again learning much of what's going on in their life. And by the way, social media, here's what people think social media is. You make a beautiful post and everybody likes you and follows you because of it. The people that win in social media, you're showing up on everybody's DMs and you're cheering them on and you're showing gratitude and you're asking questions and you're inviting them to things. And then you're commenting on their posts, not with like just a heart, but you're instead giving 2 to 4 sentences of contribution to really engage with them. Social media is not your one-to-many, it's your one-to-one. That's how you win on social media. And so you can take circle prospecting, that's very much a one-to-one game. You can invite them into community and you can get more involved in their lives, and social media is your gateway to do that. Is that helpful,
That's
Erik?
awesome. It is.
Amazingly helpful. Very, 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 very well done. Okay, awesome. So we're going to be wrapping up this one. Erik, thank you so much. We have this as recorded. We're going to upload this to our YouTube page. This was absolutely incredible. Erik, we are very fortunate enough to get, an hour from you every week. We love you so much for that. But also for you to jump on and share this with everybody else. This is just absolutely amazing. The Cage, practice, the triangle, like all the ahas from this has just been unbelievable. You've been an unbelievable asset in my life. And I'm very grateful for you. I'm grateful for everyone that showed up today. Thank you so much for this. This is meant to help you. to get further. If you're not implementing Cage when you get off of this, then there's something's up, right? It's a real problem with that, because that is an amazing strategy that's different from any other strategy. And just give it some time. Just water the seeds, and they will grow. Things will grow. It will happen. Believe me, we have followed this as well. I will send out an invite for the next one in a couple of weeks. We're going to be moving it to Friday because Thursday is Halloween. That next one is going to have Taylor Kerrigan, who is the sales director for Glover Agency, director of operations extraordinaire, events extraordinaire. I believe Erik knows Taylor as well, or at least heard her name before, with Jeff Glover up in Michigan. But Erik, go follow him, please. We've put his Instagram handle in there. If you feel free to message him at any point. We will be reaching out about getting these books to you as well. We will take care of everybody on the call. Just an amazing call, and blown away. And I just can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart for
My
everything.
pleasure, buddy. Love you.
Love you, man. Thank you.
Be well.
Thanks, guys.
That was awesome.
Yeah, that was really good.
So good.
So good.
So good.
So good. I mean, Gabe, I got my pocket watch on for you today, bud. Unmute.
Oh,
There you go.
you hear me now?
Yeah, I got my pocket watch on for you today.
Man, that was great. Cage is some very good stuff, man. Very, very good stuff. I'm grateful. This is a bit of gratitude to inviting me on, and big up to you, man. Bring out the pocket watch, the vest, the tie, keeping it icy for us.
Yeah. Well, Aaron's been hooking me up, but listen, everybody, like a couple people jumped off this here. This is going to be every 2 weeks, right? And people like Erik are going to be jumping onto this. Like, we are very blessed to have, like, we get an hour of that from Erik every Monday, which is so amazing. But we want to bring this out to everybody else. And Taylor coming on in a couple Fridays is we have got many of you have probably heard her name. We have got the chance to get very, very close with her, and she is nothing short of spectacular with what she's able to accomplish and what she's done over there with that agency. I know Lauren and Julie have heard a lot from her and can really vouch for that as well. But after that, we're going to have Lee Rosa, who's my current coach, is a KW Maps coach, KW team leader. He's going to be jumping on here as well. And then we're going to talk to Brian. We'll talk to some other people about jumping on. But it's going to be every 2 weeks, and this is going to keep going. We'll record it. We'll put it on YouTube. This is meant to help you. And I'll tell you what, today was jaw-dropping, amazing. And I am jacked up right now after that. I'll tell you that for sure. So thank you for joining us. Show some love to somebody today. Do some sort of gratitude with somebody. You never know who you're going to pick up when they're down. So when you get off here, send a message to somebody and tell them you love them. All right. Thanks.
Peace.
Peace all.